We ready? Dr. Robbins?
Sure.
Calling this meeting to order. If everyone could please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome everyone. Tonight is a business meeting. We are returning from executive session where we discussed the results and recommendations for a safety audit that was recently done, and also discuss a special education settlement. So with that, also Deanna and Stacy, two of our board members, could not be here tonight. And with that, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? First is Gusta, second is Petra. All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. Moving on to Board of Education comments. We'll start with you, Gusta.
I don't really have much. I just want to take the opportunity to formally welcome Dr. Wilson Turner. She's not here.
There she is. Just hiding in the back.
I'm really excited to have you here and to get to know you better and to work alongside you. So formally welcome.
Thank you. Tom?
I think I'm gonna wait till later.
Okay.
Thanks.
Jackson?
I have a few things actually.
Tom, could you give them your mic?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
So I had the pleasure of going to actually the Guanabo open house last week, and I got to see the entranceway, and man, let me tell you, it is so beautiful. As someone who went to Gowana, it was just a bright new light. So I just am so excited to get that done. Thank you to everybody who's working on that. Really, those guys are really putting in the effort. And Mrs. Gories and Mr. Hopkins, they're great. They're great, excuse me. I also wanted to talk about at the end of the month, I believe it's the weekend of the 28th, and then the 3rd is our high school drama production. Those dates, I'm pretty sure, are public. If they're not, I just announced them to the public, so I did that job for them. Those people work so hard. Mr. Latano heads it. They work weekends, after school, every day to try to make a good production, and for the musical in the spring as well. So we're really excited for that. Cannot wait. It's going to be great. And that's fine.
I just wanted to ask, are you in the production?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm speaking on behalf of them.
Thank you, that's fair. Petra?
Thanks, Jackson. I saw you there at the Gowana open house. I appreciate you attending. I wanted to give a shout out to the Gowana first inaugural color run, which was a lot of fun and allowed me to spray my own children and many other children with chalk.
Thanks for that.
And again, Mr. Hopkins and Ms. Gories were in attendance, and it was a lot of fun, and we had some great participation. So looking forward to doing it again.
Thank you. Jason?
Just to say that it's really exciting, although sometimes crowded, to see all the people around. There's so much activity this time of year, which is really cool and wild. So many sports, the parking lot's full, I come to meetings now. The mic's not on, so that's really good. And yes, welcome to our new deputy superintendent who's got both feet planted now over here in Shen. Echo Gus's comments.
Thank you. I wanted to also circle back to the production. Mr. Latano did email all the board to let us all know about that. It's 120 strong as far as cast and stage crew, and that's a big group. So I was really happy to hear that, and that Mr. Latano is at the helm taking that on. I wanted to also remind everyone that we have an induction National Honor Society induction ceremony tomorrow evening, and that everyone should have received one letter in an envelope and one memo. The memo is for the approving field trips, and then the letter is for the green and white. Of course, I had heart palpitations because it's just next week. It's coming fast. So it's the 12th at 6:30 in the high school East auditorium. And so with that, I'm going to read, we're going to go into public comment, but before that, I'm going to read a statement for public comment, and then the first, I'd like to invite the students up first to comment. So you can come up, but I'm going to read the statement first, okay? All right. So this is a business meeting, and of course during business meetings we provide an opportunity for our residents to address the Board of Education. The board reminds residents that the public comment portion of our meeting is only one item on a long agenda. We therefore ask that each speaker be as succinct as possible and that remarks be limited to 2 to 3 minutes in an effort to ensure that the widest number of community viewpoints are heard. The board asks members of groups or the public to withhold comment if their viewpoints have already been presented. We would also expect that residents speak in a respectful and courteous manner so as to model proper civility and decorum for our students. Comments or questions regarding a specific staff member or student are confidential and will not be allowed or addressed by the board. District residents may also send questions or comments via boe@shenschools.org. All questions or comments that come into the office of the Public Information Officer and are shared with the board and the superintendent. Policy questions or concerns are typically addressed by the board president. Operational questions or concerns are typically addressed by the superintendent or designate. It's pretty neat. When you come up to speak, please provide your name, address, and the event follow-up is necessary. So please go ahead, Glennis. Thank you.
So we had our homecoming dance and it was very successful with over 580 people attending. And during the dance, we also had a student-led band play, which was very exciting. We are getting ready for our candy cane sale and prepping for a winter dance, which is going to be around January 20th. And the theme is Northern Lights.
Oh, neat. Cool. Thank you.
And just to, expand on that, we really enjoy selling candy canes because it's a way to support Shen Helping Shen, which is essentially supporting our students and helping them financially to achieve, certain materials or things that are not financially available for them.
Okay. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. So at this point, if there is someone from the public, we do have it, Mr. Hahn is here from the public, and please come up to speak. And also for all the board members, there is a packet that looks like this, and he'll be speaking to that.
Okay, well, thank you.
Oh no.
Okay, don't touch this. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you to the board for giving me the opportunity to briefly address you. So my name is Jürgen Hahn, and I reside at 3 Brokaw Road in Ballston Lake, and I'm here to, my son goes to Acadia, and he's in the ISD classroom, that's Mr. Miller's class. And what I wanted to address, and I understand it's hard to do in 2 to 3 minutes, but I'll do my best, is basically that the challenges that many children with profound autism have, not just cognitively, but also when it comes to motor challenges. And these motor challenges actually are a major impediment because it makes it hard for them to show what they actually know, because many of them are minimally verbal, writing doesn't work either because of motor challenges and so on. And so the challenge you run into in a school setting is that it's hard to know if you taught somebody and you want to test the kid on do they know what this is, do they actually not understand what you're trying to tell, or do they understand everything but they can't show you because they don't have the skills using the standard testing techniques that are there, okay? And that makes it very difficult, and as a result, oftentimes, you repeat the same material over to see if maybe it works next time. But in the most extreme cases, you can have somebody who gets to be taught kindergarten material for the 12 years they're at Shen. And that's clearly not an outcome that's really desirable for anybody. And so what I'm coming here for, and I would like to make 2 suggestions, but they're linked. The first one is that it has been shown that at least some kids, even though they have these challenges, actually have skills that are far above what you can see in the regular tests. And so it should be possible, even in an ISD setting, to teach some kids at a close to age level material and just presume competence. And this goes somewhat against like just testing and then basically moving on if the test is just successful. The second thing is somewhat related to this. I would really like to emphasize that maybe there needs to be an option for a look at alternate testing options, because the standard ones, clearly, they don't work for everybody. They certainly don't work for my son. I mean, I can't speak for others, but from talking to other parents, I'm pretty sure we're not the only people who have this challenge. So these are my two suggestions, and so that it doesn't just come from me. I put a brief presentation in the package. There's some scientific background behind what I'm saying as well. as well as 3 support letters. And one of the support letters actually come from a student who is not in Shen, but he's in a high school in Queensbury, and the person supposed to be nonverbal, but he wrote a letter, and I think that letter is pretty telling, okay? And the other one is from a mother, from a student who went to Shen and who's learned some alternate communications afterwards. And the third one is actually from a speech language pathologist who also kind of reiterates this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address this, and I'm more than happy to get any feedback later on if anybody's interested. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hahn. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to comment at this time? Seeing no one approach the microphone, I'm going to close this portion of public comment. There is another portion later on our agenda. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Robinson for his report.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hoffman. I'll be somewhat brief tonight. Just a quick follow-up, and I appreciate Ms. Hahn coming to the board meeting. And just for the board purposes, I met with him along with Mrs. Ballard, and there have been communication since. And so I just wanted the board to know this is not the first time we're hearing this conversation. So there's been already some follow-up pieces, and there will continue to be some follow-up pieces as well. So just want to put that in context. Just by the way, you mentioned the upcoming events. This is the start of what I call the nightly event season. And certainly as soon as we get those invitations, we try to get them out to you as a board. Some come at long lead times, some not as long. And certainly the students and staff and those who organize it certainly appreciate the presence of the board when you can. And I say that because sometimes you just simply can't, because not only you're a family person, you're a professional, you have other obligations, but certainly your presence is appreciated as well. So certainly appreciate that. And to ditto the comments before, we're pleased. Dr. Cecily Wilson Turner is officially on board, and she's so official on board that her first day, I wasn't even in the district. So I had so much confidence that she was going to come in and transition great, but she has, and I think that you'll quickly start seeing the fruits of her labor, so to speak, as she worked with a great team of folks we have here. And so pretty excited about that possibility, about the possibilities that lie ahead with her future. Do you want me to transition to some of the tenure piece or not?
Of course, please.
We have, we often have, we don't have a lot of them, but we have some tenure recommendations off cycle. What I mean by off cycle, they're not typical September, because based on when people are hired, and we have one here tonight, one of our administrators, and so Jenny will walk through that piece of it. And in terms of information item, the Mrs. Carmen will be providing an overview of a safety audit process that we went through. And again, for public purposes, I'm sure Mrs. Carmen will also reiterate the same point. Clearly, we won't have certain conversation in public, because what's the point of doing a confidential safety audit if you have the confidential safety audit conversation in public? But certainly I think the public needs to know and hopefully have a greater sense of confidence that as a school system, we're constantly assessing what we do, not only from an academic perspective, but now in this case, from a safety perspective. So you hear more on that once we get into the information items as well. So we transition here, we sit in the month of October, which is scary when you think about that. It's not because it's Halloween scary, but how fast time is going by very quickly. And we're seeing that, and as we think about that, we also think then the significance of how we spend the time and the planning in the program. And with that, and I want to thank the board for their approval of all those plans at the last meeting, and now those things are, the approval of the plan at this meeting, and those things are actually already started in place. So pretty excited about the school years as well. So with that being said, I'll transition back to you, and then you can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Ms. Gilia up. I know I'm gonna keep
It's
working
good.
on this till I get it right.
You got it.
Gilia,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have a tenure recommendation for Dustin Berga, who is with us here tonight. Dustin has completed a 4-year probationary appointment in the tenure area of high school assistant principal. Prior to his current appointment, he was granted tenure as a health teacher in the district. Dustin was appointed to his current position in October 2019 and currently works with students and staff at High School East.
Thank you. And well, the board received a comprehensive report to go along with that. And honestly, I think that was the longest report I've seen. Very, very strong report. But congratulations, Mr. Vega. And we're gonna vote as part of the staffing recommendations later on the agenda. But I'll just add right now, I look forward to celebrating on October 25th, the tenure recommendation, all those who are receiving tenure in the Orangean Library. What time is that, 4 on the 25th? I think it's 4, yes. Okay, so moving on to informational items, I'd like to invite Mrs. Carmen up. Good evening. Just waiting for the presentation to be pulled up there. So thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to present regarding the Shen safety audit that was just recently conducted and finalized. You can go to that first slide. I would like to extend a warm welcome to today's presentation on the district safety audit, a topic of paramount importance in ensuring the health and safety of our district, our employees, and our students. As we delve into this critical subject, we will explore significance of the audit, objectives and action steps, and the role of promoting a culture of safety within our district as a whole. And you can see here, this is just gonna cover some of those objectives that we're gonna be covering. So we ask ourselves, why do we do a safety audit? And some of you have heard this, you know, there's always opportunities to learn and grow from what we learn. Physical security assessment is a comprehensive evaluation of the security measures and the vulnerabilities of our system. Here at Shen, we are committed to excellence, and therefore safety remains on the forefront. And when we look at, you know, why we're doing it up here, you know, we have the challenges that we face are very dynamic, they're changing constantly, and we're constantly looking at how we can enhance what we do here as a system and build upon what we know in regards to safety practices. And they are always changing, so we constantly want to evolve. As you know, or as you see here on this particular slide, the audit was very comprehensive, focusing on a layered approach. It was multi-tiered, multi-pronged. The audit looked at our current security, physical securities, considered various scenarios around the district, identified various vulnerabilities, assigned risk level to those vulnerabilities, and prioritized the security improvements. So when you look here at this slide, this is just a general overview of many of the different things that we covered. Not everything is listed here, but there's generic or specific topic areas that we covered in regards to environmental security, physical security, electronic security, and within each of those areas, there are specific areas that we covered, and then some if you look at that. And within that structure, we have then identified what are those areas that are of critical importance that we need to look at versus high, medium, low, you know, priorities that we need to address. So when we talk about who performed the assessment, a while back, the Board of Education approved the contract for Mike Gagnon, who is a specialist, with over 30 years in school safety. And you can see, you know, from this slide, we outlined some of those areas or some of those companies he worked with, but he is from Smart Security Partners, and he also worked with the Partner Alliance for Safer Schools, which is PASS, which many of you on the Board of Education have heard that term utilized before. And PASS really does focus on that multi-tiered approach when we look at school safety, and really looking at the perimeter, the community surrounding, to the parking lot, to the outside of the school building, to the school building itself, and within the school. Mr. Gagnon, he has been an incredible partner in this work. He also recently just attended a football game, which was 2 weeks ago, and has submitted that information as well, which we will incorporate in what we currently have in the findings that we have at this time.
So you will see from this slide some identified areas where we have strengths across the district, and there is a lot of information that we need to unpack from the audit. And it's going to be a very systematic approach, and we are already in the process of and have already met with some key stakeholders, operations, facilities, and started to unpack some of the information that we have here. And then looking at, how we're tackling it across the district in regards to each specific building. But it will be a very systematic approach and has been so far this year as we've approached it. But we have a solid, or I shouldn't say but, and we have a solid foundation here, from the findings of this safety audit overall. We are really, really doing very well. And just like anything else, we have a lot of room for continuous growth and improvement, especially as things change across in society in general and technologies change. In addition, as I said, the assessment was also made some recommendations moving forward, and naturally these detailed findings are confidential, so we're not sharing these publicly, and we will continue working on addressing them where we have areas that need improvement to ensure that we're continuously improving and promoting a culture of safety. So when we talk about action steps and next steps, and many people are wondering, okay, what are we gonna do with this and what does this look like? And we're looking at how we can mitigate these risks. Strategies were identified and recommendations have been made, which may include the physical or operational changes. Some items already on that list that were identified as areas of improvement are areas we're already in progress, and we're already making improvements. We have developed a comprehensive document to help us track the assessment, the findings, the risk, the priority, and the mitigation steps. We have started individualized meetings to begin to unpack the findings and make changes as needed. Physical security is ongoing, as you know. You hear us talk about this all the time. It's constantly changing. So we are constantly monitoring and reassessing to adapt to those changing threats and vulnerabilities that we may have that we are confronted with. In addition, as you've heard me say over and over again, we live in a changing world. There are new threats and preventative measures available, and we plan to visit those, the audit periodically and look at this. And as you know, and we've talked about this in the safety updates that we provide to the Board of Education yearly, we have done two safety audits ourselves, internal safety audits that I've conducted along with many other key stakeholders in our school community and our surrounding community. And this safety audit really provides a whole different perspective and an opportunity for us to really look at the system as a whole and look at how we can continue to strive for excellence. Any questions?
Thank you, Becky. Sorry, Mrs. Carmen. The presentation that Mr. Gannon made in that 1 hour was incredibly informative, but also very specific. And I was really impressed by that because there was a lot, as you said, it was outside, inside, and it covered a gambit of things, and individual reports were made to every single building in the district. That was very thorough, and we really very much appreciate that and your work to continue taking that information and doing what we can to make our schools more secure. So, thank you. I know there's more to come too. There'll be some more, yes, on that.
Just
Thank you.
beginning.
So I guess we're gonna move into the first reading?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, so tonight you have policies that are being presented for first reading that went through policy review in September. There are a variety of different policies. We've added some, but mostly focusing on sports, athletics, and there was some attendance in there also.
And the purchasing ones is like, it has to be.
The annual ones,
yes,
excuse me,
yeah.
thank you very much. Yes, our annual ones that we have to present yearly are also incorporated within this group.
And so there'll be time to provide feedback. We won't vote on this until second reading, which will be in 4 weeks at our next business meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're gonna move on to Petra, who's going to present our NISBA resolutions.
Okay. I know you're all.
She says
looking forward to
apprehensively.
this. So, as I discussed in our last meeting, there are over 50 of them. Approximately 30 are resolutions that NISBA themselves are supporting, although they will have to go through the voting process in October. So we decided, and I spoke with leadership on this, that I would instead choose to highlight those positions that NISBA is supporting that for various reasons Shen is not. Because that we think is the most interesting, varied approach. I can send out to the board like the entire list of them. But these are, and it's, few and far between. The vast majority of the NISBA proposed resolutions that will thereafter be lobbied for in New York State Congress, that we pretty much agree with most of them. So it's a one-page document, do not fear. The first one that we're opposing is actually the first one. And it is a sunsetting provision, and it states that NISBA opposes any legislative and regulatory mandates that would impose new unfunded or unfunded mandates, right? That's broad, that's very limiting. I don't think that we want to, on the whole, state that just because New York State isn't funding something, we're gonna be disagreeing with it.
And if you could just clarify, sunsetting it's come back and now the last time it can be presented as a resolution, correct? So it's come back several times.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay.
Number two is also actually number two, that's supporting legislation at the state level to hold school districts financially harmless when they experience unanticipated significant loss of revenue due to tax cert cases. Again, we're just not sure who's gonna pay, right, instead of the district, and so without that kind of clarity or certainty, we don't think that's something that should be lobbied for, and this is another sunsetting provision. Number 15 is to support the legislation and regulatory changes that would authorize school districts and BOCES to directly offer childcare. And to also directly charge families for such care. I feel like this is fraught with peril. There are just so many regulations associated with this. I'm not sure that schools want to be in the business of being childcare facilities. So we would be opposing that. And also, because if it's out there, right, as an option, I think people will ask for us to become childcare facilities, and I think it's very challenging. Extremely challenging. That is not a sunsetting provision, I think that's a new one. Number 20 is to support legislation to eliminate the Regents exam testing. So there is a blue ribbon commission that's already looking at it. They've spent a lot of time and effort, and we think they should just finish the job. So we're not going to be undermining or overthinking before they have a chance and the commissioner has a chance to provide that report, which I don't know, Dr. Robinson, do you know when that's coming out? I feel like it's soon.
Soon, there'll be, the Board of Regents should be, well, something we share the Board of Regents, if I'm not mistaken, for the November meeting.
Yeah.
Then there's review, then there's a comment period, so I would say probably shortly after the calendar year. When you think about it, we get into a December sequence, a lot of things slow down, but soon.
Right. I mean, they've been working on it for a while, and it doesn't seem like it makes sense to preempt that by requesting that it just be removed altogether. Number 29 supports passage of legislation that would decouple student standardized test scores from a teacher's APPR rating. So again, this is a very challenging scenario because on the one hand, we don't want teachers to solely be reviewed based on a couple of test scores, but on the other end of the spectrum, we need something, right? We need to have some metric, some standard. And so this feels like too broad of an ask. And my understanding is that BOCES is in agreement on that? Is that what you were saying? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They are, okay, so.
And actually, on the childcare one, I think generally they are supportive with the positions of Shen, and I think for that one, what's different is actually have a program for teaching students childcare and adults, and they have a childcare facility right there. So it is a little bit different situation, but go ahead, sorry.
No, that's interesting. So notwithstanding the fact that there are current challenges associated with teacher metrics, we oppose the legislation that would decouple student standardized testing. And then the last one, they're proposing to support legislation that would not require school districts to offer early voting, but to allow school districts to offer early voting.
I did not understand that one.
So
I did not get it.
school board voting is a very short time frame anyway,
Yes.
right? I mean, it's basically like 1 month between the beginning of the season, right, and then voting. And if you allow early voting, it just messes up all the requirements, and there have to be pamphlets that are all printed, and it's not inherently that we don't want an extended time frame, but at the same time.
I'm not sure that's exactly what this is saying. I think this is saying that right now it's required that they offer it,
No.
right?
No,
That's
it's
not what
not.
it's saying?
We don't have it.
They don't have
They
it.
don't-
Oh, I think that'll allow but not required, so it's not
Yeah.
currently
Yeah,
required.
you could
it's-
choose to do it.
Or not.
Make it.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so we're not supporting it.
Because
No.
unless they have to change a lot of other timelines
Sure.
in order for it to work.
We don't think
We have
they've
to do
thought
our
it
public hearing
through
tomorrow,
in terms
right?
of
Right.
Yeah.
repercussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, the law prescribes when the public hearings take place, so a lot of things would have to change for that.
Gotcha.
Right, exactly. And that's it. And the remainder of the proposed resolutions are not supported by NISBA, and the majority, which we're not supporting as well.
So the other thing I want to note is that this year was the first time I saw the DEI evaluation that was on every single resolution, whether they supported it or opposed. They only opposed the ones that were also opposed by NISBA,
Right.
but they did oppose, I think, 3 or 4.
Right, they have a separate committee now that reviews solely
Yes.
based on DEI criteria.
Yes, exactly, so that's new.
Yeah, that is, it's good.
Yeah, it is good, although it doesn't say what their opinion is as to why they oppose or support, whereas
That's true.
NISBA does
Yeah.
say why they oppose, and so it'd be helpful. I think, I do know Kathy Lewis, so I was gonna recommend
I
that
think
to
that's
her.
good feedback for next year, yeah.
So thank you, that was really good analysis. I know it's a lot of work, there was 55 of them to read through, and, yeah, they were crazy.
And they will be, and of course, I should have said this at the outset, Dr. Robinson and I met, and so he had significant input on this discussion, it was very helpful. And the voting is going to be occurring in 2 weeks.
The 16th.
Yeah, and thank you to NISBA, it is virtual, so I'll be able to do it from my phone,
Something from COVID, that's good.
yeah.
Although it's gonna be a long meeting, I'm so sorry, but it's gonna be a long.
I multitask, I'm a mom.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. And so we don't need a vote on that, but if you have feedback, if you disagree with any of the positions, I think they were well presented, and it makes sense where we're coming from. So thank you again. So from there, we're going to move on to our consent items. So the first item up is our treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the period ending August 31st, 2023? First is Gusta, second is Tom. Any comments? All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. So for the minutes, I'll break them up. For the September 5th minutes, Gusta was not here, so you can choose to abstain if you wish, Gusta. Can I have a motion to approve the September 5th minutes? First is Tom, second is Jason. Any comments? All in favor? It is 4 in favor, 1 abstention? Okay, sure. Well, actually, whenever board members are missing, I was worried about not, but we still have a majority
Yes.
with, we have a quorum,
Quorum, yeah.
so we're okay. The next one, all were in attendance, that's the September 19th. Board minutes, can I have a motion to approve the September 19th, 2023 minutes? First is Petra, second is Jason. Any comments? All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. So we're gonna move on to the action items, and I'm gonna group the first 5. Should I invite Mrs.
Yeah.
Chase up, or I think we're good?
No, if there are questions, I'll address the
Okay.
questions.
Got it. So I would like to, like I said, to group the first 5. So can I have a motion to approve the plans that are listed there? The multi-tiered support plan, technology integration, multi-tiered support, special education, professional learning, and the school counseling plans, all for 2023-24 school year. First is Gusta, second is Tom. Any comments? All in favor? 5 in favor. Thank you. The next item up is the acceptance of vaping litigation settlement. I didn't know if you wanted to add for this.
So the board, this is an extension of us, we joined a class action litigation from across the country, and this is an additional company. So again, this is basically saying that we agreed to, they're trying to finalize all the settlements without dragging it through another court process. So this would be beneficial to the district. Right now, is anticipating maybe our share will be around $43,000 that we're, the question is, how specific will they be with how you spend the money? So that's to be determined once it's all resolved.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to accept the vaping litigation settlement? First is Petra, second is Tom. Any comments? All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. The next item up is the booster clubs. Can I have a motion to approve? Did I skip one?
Special education one.
Oh my
Number
goodness,
7.
I moved too fast. Can I have a motion to approve the special education settlement authorization resolution? First is Gusta, second is Tom. Any comments or questions? This is also what we discussed in executive session. All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. Now booster clubs. Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Can I have a motion to approve the booster clubs as presented? First is Gusta, second is Tom. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. Next is a bid. Can I have a motion to approve the bid for loader rental, and this is for snow removal? Can I have a motion? First is Petra, second is Tom. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you. Donations. Can I have a motion to accept the donations of the office furniture made to the district with appreciation? First is Tom, second is Gusta. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All 5 in favor. Thank you. Next item up is contracts. Can I have a motion to approve the CRIC software agreement? And this is for, this is our Clicker Connect NISA ELA writing software app. Can I have a motion? First is Petra, second is Tom. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Is that the software? No, there's agreement. Thank you. It is 5 in favor. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Robinson, for doing that. I invite Mrs. Mylott up to answer any special education questions.
Good evening. You have before you the recommendations from the committees on preschool and school age special education.
Any questions? Can I have a motion to accept the special education placements? First is Gusta, second is Tom. All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Thank you, Mrs. Mylott. And Mrs. Scalia, coming back for a second round.
Yes, so before you tonight is the staffing agenda for your approval. We'd like to just point out again our tenure recommendation for Dustin Berga, which would be effective October 15th, 2023. And I would also like to point out our retirements, which are, I have marked them now, no.
They're on the screen. They're on the screen if you need.
Oh, there, here they are. So we have in total, for our retirements, 110 years of service. And just to read out their names, we have Karen Boyton with 15 years, Jamie Carter at 24 years, Zofia Dross at 20 years, Linda Marson at 11 years, Donna McCrudden at 10 years, and Bonnie Purcell with 30 years of service.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that's it for,
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. With that, can I have well, there's, the recertifications, we're gonna do
It's
them both.
included, no, it's included here.
It's included, okay. So can I have a motion to approve the staffing recommendations, which includes the administrative evaluation recertification? First is Gusta, second is Petra. You look confused, Petra, got a question?
I just didn't know what the admin evaluator.
So by law regulations, each year, administrators who evaluate teachers on an APPR process, has to go through a recertification process, so that's what it is.
And we're approving what aspect of it, just what happened?
It's an approval that it occurred, completed, yes, exactly.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so that training was, I'm only saying this because I really want to give Rhonda a compliment on it. Typically in the past, there was a computer software that we've used, that company, quite frankly with you, folded. So we had to recreate a whole new process, which was great. The challenge created a tremendous opportunity. Vicki Wow, who heads up professional development, put together pretty comprehensive training, which, we'll go on the road and start doing it till, it was actually very good. So we'll be using that now internally moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, good question. And before I ask for everybody's vote, I thank our retirees for their many years of service. That's incredible. There were several of them, 24, 30 years, that's just impressive. I'm sure they'll be missed. But we do appreciate the time that they spent with us. And with that, all in favor? It is 5 in favor. Did Mr. Vega leave?
I think they had a chaperone thing they had to deal with.
Ah, okay, so we'll catch him later.
On the job.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
it's on the dot.
So with that,
Yeah, no, of course.
we are moving into our second public comment period. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to comment at this time? Seeing no one approach the podium, I will close the second public comment period. And now we'll move in for the good of the order, and this is an opportunity for members of the board to discuss salient district-related matters from a policy perspective, or just to give a shout out. So with that, Tom?
Yes, I just want to give a quick update and a shout out to the Counseling Advisory Committee led by Matt Davis. So a little bit with respect to the work of the last year, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we talked about in the past how transfer students have among the lowest graduation rates. So we decided to focus some of our efforts as a committee there. And we have conceived of essentially the challenge as one of engagement. And to get a sense of levels of engagement among transfer students as well as knowledge of specific services and activities, the CAC sent out a survey last spring to about 300 families. We got a respectable 10% response rate. And the responses showed that while there are opportunities to increase engagement and knowledge, that overall Shen is doing well and transfer students and families are engaging. Matt followed up directly with families whose feedback reflected maybe just a more challenging experience. So that was great. And there's some thought as to what we do from here and whether we'll continue to provide the survey like year 1, year 2 as maybe a follow-up, but that needs further discussion. And also just a reminder for folks who don't know, on Saturday, October 21st, there is a new to Shen fair from 10 to 12 during the day here in High School East Library. And it's to provide information around engagement opportunities, sports clubs, etc., to our new families.
Can I ask you, is that for like all levels of Shen, right? So
Yeah.
like from kindergarten all the way up to a senior transfer?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's sort of tacked on to Dr. Robinson's community conversation that day as well.
It kicks it off.
Yeah.
So that is exciting. It's the first of it, so I'm looking forward to that. So I do have a couple things, but I wanted to make sure no one has, do you have anything to share, Jason?
No.
Okay. So I wanted to mention the retreat. We were trying to schedule a second retreat. Those dates are not panning out. So right now we have one more date to throw out there, and that's November 12th. So if you could look at that and then get back to me, because our general counsel is available to work with us on that day. So
November 12th?
Sunday,
November 12th. So he's available that day, Sunday. And if that doesn't work out, then we might have to go back.
See you
So
next
I have
spring.
thumbs up right now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, I'll follow up with Stacy and Deanna. So
Great.
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to also mention that in accordance with our policies on tomorrow's policy agenda, maintaining positive relations with our municipal government, that Thursday of this week, October 5th at 11:30 is a ribbon cutting ceremony over here for that land that was sold off by the district and that became a town park. And so last year the dedication was made, but there were still several pieces that needed to be put in place, but now it's all ready. And so there's a ribbon cutting this Thursday at 11:30, and hopefully everyone can make it. I do plan to be there for that. So if there's no other comments, the next item on the agenda is just for informational purposes, the policy review schedule, which policy review is tomorrow, bright and early, and our presentation schedule. And now we move into adjournment. So can I have a motion to adjourn? First is Tom. Second is Gusta. All in favor? It is 5 in favor. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much for coming. Turn off your mics.
Wow.
Get us back.